Hi, and welcome to Sullivan Guitars and State Line Luthier Works. This morning we have a guitar on the bench sent to me from a friend in Vermont that's having an intonation problem. And the way he explains it is that the low E string always sounds sharp when he plays it, and the intonation, according to the strobe tuner, is sharp on that low E string. We did some fretwork to the guitar and we lowered the action a little bit, and that helped the problem, but it didn't correct it. Normally, intonation is adjusted by moving the saddle back and forth. If the intonation is sharp, we would move the saddle back. If the intonation is flat, we would move it forward. But seeing how most people don't have a router, that takes a lot of skill, and you have to fill the slot and reslot the bridge. It requires a router and jigs. But there's an alternative method for adjusting intonation, which we're going to explain this morning. Intonation is all about the distance between the nut and the 12th fret, and then the distance between the 12th fret and the saddle being equal, compensating, of course, for the thickness of the strings. In this case, the guitar is sharp on the low E string, and it plays out of tune enough so that it's annoying to the guy. And we don't want to move the saddle, because it's not out that much, for one, and for two, that's a pretty involved procedure, filling the saddle slot and reslotting it. So I'm going to show you a different method for dealing with this problem. I'm going to turn the camera off and set it in another place and adjust it so that we can focus in on the guitar, and I'll explain the procedure to you. And all you need to do this is a little piece of bone. You need some super glue and a nut file, basically, and a tuner, and you can fix the problem. So I'll reset the camera and explain how this works, where I get the camera up close to the guitar. Now that I've got the camera set up and I'm focused in on the guitar, I'm going to explain a little further. The reason that the intonation on this guitar is sharp is that the distance between the nut and the 12th fret is not equal to the distance between the 12th fret and the nut down on the guitar, the saddle down on the guitar, excuse me. The saddle being the bone piece here in the bridge. The guitar is intonating sharp because the space between the 12th fret and the saddle is too short. And we can't lengthen that space unless we move the saddle, which is very complicated. So what we're going to do to straighten out the intonation problem is we're going to, remember, this space between the saddle and the 12th fret is too short. So what we're going to do is shorten this space between the nut and the 12th fret to match the space between the 12th fret and the saddle, which is short. And how we're going to do that is by adding a little bone piece. Right here I have in my hand a piece of bone, an old saddle. Hold the guitar up, I'll zoom in and I'll show you what it looks like done. When you're done, that's what you got. It's just a little piece of bone out on the leading edge of the nut to shorten the space between the nut and the 12th fret to match the space between the 12th fret and the saddle, which is too short, and making the intonation of that string sharp. And that's a quick, easy fix that always works. I will set the camera up on the strobe tuner to conclude this, and we'll check it on the strobe and see how it is. Okay, I'm back, and I got the camera focused in on the strobe window of the strobe tuner. It's an old tube-operated Con strobe tuner that I really like to use because of the accuracy of it. That's fretted 12th fret. That's pretty close, and if anything, it's just a hair flat, which is okay because people have a tendency to pull the strings out when they play. The harder you press, the sharper the string. will go. So we'll quickly tune the guitar. In strobe tuner. And then we'll play an open G chord. That's the chord that was really bothering the guy. Here's an open G. Sounds great. Before the string was sounding sharp. So I'll reset the camera and we'll conclude. And I hope that this has been useful to you. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope that the information has been useful to you, to those of you who have an acoustic guitar that the intonation is driving you nuts on. This guitar right now seems to be playing pretty well. I'm going to put this back in the mail to my friend in Vermont today, but it sounds like it's playing in tune. It's not offensive anymore. Before, when you would play an open G chord, that low G note was really sharp and sort of annoying. So I hope you enjoyed the film, the information, and you can visit us online at www.sullivanguitars.com. We also have a website, www.acousticguitarcorner, all lowercase, one word.com, acousticguitarcorner.com, where we sell pickups and cases and instructional DVDs and even some of our handmade guitars that come out of the shop here. We hope you've enjoyed this little segment, and we'll see you next time with another useful tidbit of information, hopefully. Thanks. Bye.